And you know what? I figured we might as well go ahead and just address the elephant in the room. Now, there's been news for days, right, of different accusations that came out of what happened at San Diego State University. And the more and more that came out, because say that you follow me on Twitter, the second that the news dropped, I did sort of try and go out there and be as objective as humanly possible, right? Because when I look at certain things, like I've always been a strong believer that there are three sides to every single story. There's this party side, there's that party side, and then there's the truth. The thing is that I feel like that the Buffalo Bills made the right move, like at this point, because sure, yes, there have been cases before where stories against a player have been fabricated. Most notably, I would probably say the Duke lacrosse team. Totally ruined these guys' careers, their lives, etc. It turned out that that story was fabricated. Same thing with that offensive lineman. I always forget his name, but he was outside of Baylor. He's been trying to get into the NFL for the longest time. Story was fabricated. When I look at just how gruesome some of these details are, my number one thought process is how mentally ill could somebody be to make up a story like that? I'm leaning toward, and trust me, like I think that there's nothing more toxic on the face of the planet than the court of public opinion, because we weren't there. We don't know what happened. And it's something that I feel that like needs to be treaded carefully on from that perspective. I think the Bills made the absolute right move, because even if a shred of that is right, I mean, first off, he did admit to sleeping with an underage girl. Ladies and gentlemen, that is illegal. That is statutory. I'm not going to say that word on the stream because your boy got to pay the bills. When it comes down into it, I think the Bills did end up making the right move. Whether or not that he did it or whether or not that he didn't, I hope that the punishment is equal regardless of who is at fault, whether or not that he did it or whether or not that that girl fabricated the story. It really, really does. And I thought it might be interesting to hear a little bit about what this team has to think about it. And I ended up pulling up a couple of videos. I'm not sure if you saw Deion Dawkins discuss this, but let's see how the Bills are taking care of this so far.
It's done. It's not affecting us. We're on to the next. You know, it's done. It's not here. It's not a problem. Done.
As a team leader, how did you navigate the last 4 days or whatever with communicating with the team, expressing your opinions, your everything like that? How did that all?
Yeah, it's more so just control what you can. Like we're not law enforcement officers, we're not judges, we're not lawyers. Like we don't deal with any of that stuff. We try to just focus on ball. Focusing on ball is already more than enough for us to handle. And then we have our families to handle, and we got our kids, and we have our managers and our marketing and all this stuff. Like we're a group of men that have realized that we can only control what and we can. And we simply are just worrying about us. Like we understand about the situation, coach.
It has to be tough. I mean, honestly, when it comes down into any locker room, if you have such heinous accusations against one of your teammates, it's going to have a negative effect on the overall mentality. So there's nothing more that I wish that we can go out ahead and just get over this. Not to make light of this very serious situation, one thing I will say is the Buffalo Bills, do we even really need a punter? Honestly, like I thought it was weird that we ended up taking a punter in the draft when I'm pretty sure we were bottom of the league for overall attempted punts, like in the absolute first place. Whoever we decide to bring on, I saw that we are very interested in, man, I forget his name, but he grew up in Grand Island, all-pro punter. Scrolling up, Kearns, who could be a possibility. He might be a little expensive, though, just due to his rap sheet. I saw Marquette King as well, who I have been a massive fan of ever since he was with the Raiders that 1 year, and then like a few other tryouts. But I have full confidence that with Bean, he's going to make this happen. He's going to find somebody to help us out once we do end up getting into some of those situations. And then that's just, yeah. I mean, that's really like my overall thought process. I hate that had to plague the Bills locker room, especially in front of a season that is so highly anticipated, that we had to go through with that. So whatever happens, I'm just glad that he's no longer on this team.